Have you ever felt silly doing something that makes perfect sense to your brain, but looks a little unhinged to everyone else? I'm Jen, a burnout and vicarious trauma coach, and I most certainly do not have my shit together. After being flat out sick for 2 weeks, it was suddenly late May, and I was way behind on getting my vegetable garden ready. I use a drip system that saves a ton of time and water, but it means I need to tweak it to rotate my plants each spring, which involves a bit of planning, some labor, and in my case, a whole lot of staring. See, I can't sit inside and sketch out a plan. I need to see the bed. I need to feel the space. I need to move in it so I can see how everything will come together. So I walk circles around my little garden, staring at the seed packets and feeling mildly overwhelmed. The drip lines needed reconfiguring, and of course, all my volunteer lettuce had popped up just outside the existing zone. So, still a bit tired from being sick, I finally just sat on the ground and stared at the garden. And that's when I felt my brain's gears start whirring. My neighbors drove by and walked by with dogs, all of them watching me sit and stare at a patch of dirt. Younger me would have been mortified, but I just chuckled. Meh, they probably think I'm nuts. Oh well. About 20 minutes later, the plan finally revealed itself. I could see the future garden in my mind, where the cantaloupe would vine, where the beans would climb, and where the water lines needed to be. I realized my renegade lettuce wasn't the problem, it was the key. Instead of replumbing entire zones, I could just transplant the baby lettuce to a section already perfectly set up for them. And that section became the foundation for the whole plan. No massive redesign, just working with what was already there. A few hours later, everything was reconfigured and transplanted, seeds were in the ground. As I did one last lap around the garden, pointing and mumbling to myself about just how many tomatoes I could fit, I caught a neighbor watching me talk to the dirt. I waved. They moved on quickly. I smiled because it looked ridiculous. And it's exactly how my brain does its best planning. Now, I wasn't always this unbothered by how my process looks to other people. It took someone noticing and helping me understand why my brain works the way it does. In high school, I had an English teacher pull me aside, frustrated, because I never turned in my outlines before my papers. She wanted to know why. I told her I couldn't because the paper structure only revealed itself when I was actually writing. She asked a few more questions and then explained something that changed how I understood myself. I'm an exceptionally spatial thinker. My brain works differently than most. It's not wrong, just different. She encouraged me to stop trying to force my brain into linear thinking and help me see the gifts in the way that I process. And we found ways for me to fulfill class requirements in a way that worked for both of us. Over time, I learned to apply her lessons to other aspects of my life: planning, organization, task management, you name it. That teacher gave me something else truly invaluable: permission to trust my own process, even when it doesn't look like anyone else's. We get so much pressure from bosses, from friends, from productivity culture to organize and plan the right way. Your process doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It just has to work for you. And if it works, if you're accomplishing tasks, finding what you need, and growing what you're trying to grow, that's enough. Trust and embrace your process, even when it means sitting in a dirt patch talking to yourself. So, here's my question: where in your life have you been second guessing a process that actually works just because it doesn't look like everyone else's? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. And if you want more real stories like this, spatial brains, renegade lettuce, and permission to be a little weird in your own special way, Give this a like, maybe share it with someone who needs that permission, and stick around. There's plenty more coming.